Ladies and gentlemen, there is a battlefield far more powerful than any war zone. It is not out there in the world, it is in the mind. Your mind is a tool, not a master. This is a spiritual truth that, once understood, has the power to radically transform your life. The human mind was never meant to rule over your spirit. It was designed to carry out the intentions of your higher self, your divine knowing. Yet for most people, the mind has become a tyrant, creating fear, doubt, confusion, and worry. It runs wild like an untamed horse, dragging the soul through chaos, but the mind was never meant to lead, it was meant to serve. When the mind becomes your master, you live in constant reaction. Every negative circumstance, every piece of bad news, every judgment from others begins to dictate your emotional state and decisions. You become a prisoner of your own thoughts, held hostage by illusions and worst-case scenarios. But the truth is, the mind was never designed to create spiritual direction. It was meant to carry out the divine orders of your inner guidance. Your spirit is the commander, your mind is the servant. When you forget this divine order, suffering takes root. A tool is something you pick up when needed and put down when it has served its purpose. That is how you must begin to see your mind. Use it for planning, for organizing, for expressing creativity, but do not let it run the show. A tool in the wrong hands can do more damage than good. When the mind begins to operate without the instruction of spirit, it builds towers of fear, stories of limitation, and images of failure. It is not evil, it is simply untrained. A hammer is neither good nor bad, it depends on the one who wields it. Your mind, left unchecked, will be influenced by everything around it: news, gossip, worry, memories, future anxieties. But when you take conscious command, your mind becomes a sacred servant to your higher calling. To reclaim your authority, you must first separate yourself from your thoughts. You are not your mind. You are not the voice that says, "You're not good enough," or "This won't work out." You are the observer, the one who notices these thoughts, and you have the divine power to reject or replace them. Every time you witness a thought of fear and choose instead a thought of faith, you are reminding the mind who is in charge. Every time you replace confusion with clarity, hesitation with boldness, scarcity with abundance, you are training the mind to obey truth instead of fear. The untrained mind serves the world, the trained mind serves spirit. If you do not tell the mind what to think, it will think what the world teaches: lack, competition, fear, illness, and limitation. But when you deliberately feed the mind with words of life, affirmations of divine power, peace, and purpose, it begins to shift. It becomes sharp, still, focused, and obedient. It begins to mirror the peace of your spirit instead of the panic of your environment. This is not a one-time act. It is a daily practice. Like any tool, the mind must be cleaned, sharpened, and cared for. You must monitor the thoughts you allow in, because those thoughts eventually become beliefs, and beliefs create your entire reality. Choose to speak to your mind with authority. Tell it what to believe. Tell it what to expect. Tell it where to go and what to focus on. If a tool is left lying around, rusted and dull, it becomes a burden. But in the hands of a conscious soul, the mind becomes a precision instrument, clear, powerful, and productive. Thoughts are magnetic and creative. This is not simply a poetic idea. It is a spiritual law. Every thought you think carries a vibration, and that vibration either draws things toward you or pushes them away. When you think a thought repeatedly, you are not just entertaining an idea. You are energizing it, feeding it, and planting it like a seed into the soil of the universe. And just like nature never fails to bring a seed into bloom when nurtured, the universe never fails to bring your dominant thoughts into form. You are always manifesting, whether you are conscious of it or not, because your thoughts are always in motion, always creating, always drawing into your life the people, situations, and experiences that match their frequency. When you understand that your thoughts are magnetic, you begin to take responsibility for your inner world. No longer can you afford to dwell in fear, rehearse the worst-case scenarios, or repeat limiting beliefs. Because every time you do, you are sending out a silent signal to the universe: bring me more of this. If you constantly think about what could go wrong, you invite problems. If you fixate on what is missing, you multiply lack. If you dwell on betrayal, hurt, or injustice, you magnetize more of the same. The universe does not hear your words as much as it feels your vibration, and your vibration is determined by what you habitually think and feel. At the same time, when you focus your thoughts on peace, abundance, healing, and success, not from a place of need, but from a place of knowing, you begin to align with that energy. You become a match for what you desire. You don't chase your dreams, you attract them. Your thoughts become like spiritual magnets, pulling the invisible into the visible. The results might not be instant, but they are always faithful. Thought is the first creation. Everything that exists began as a thought in someone's mind. Your thoughts build the structure before the form appears. The mind imagines and life follows. This is why it is so crucial to discipline your thought life. You cannot entertain thoughts of poverty and expect wealth. You cannot soak in thoughts of disease and expect health. You cannot replay thoughts of rejection and expect to live fully loved. Whatever you dwell on, you expand. The universe is not punishing or rewarding. It is simply responding to the signal you are sending out, and that signal is being transmitted every moment through your thoughts, whether you realize it or not. Some believe that thinking positive is just wishful thinking, but that is a misunderstanding of the spiritual law. Positive thought rooted in truth is not fantasy, it is a creative force. When you think from a place of faith, you are aligning with the divine pattern of life. You are stepping into the vibration where miracles, solutions, and blessings already exist. You are tuning your inner frequency to match the higher reality you wish to see. You don't beg for change. You think it, believe it, and speak it into being. You move into energetic agreement with your desire, and from there, creation unfolds naturally. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the author of your reality. Your mind is your pen, and your thoughts are the ink. Every thought is a script you are handing over to life to perform. If the script is written in fear, the scenes will mirror chaos. But if the script is written in love, faith, and clarity, the performance of your life will reflect beauty and blessing. The power is in you. What you choose to think is what you choose to create. Guard it, direct it, honor it, because your thoughts are not just invisible whispers. They are spiritual instructions that the universe obeys without question. A hyper-forming mind aligns with spiritual truth. It does not seek performance through pressure, panic, or competition, but through inner clarity and divine alignment. Most people try to achieve success by forcing outcomes, overthinking, or exhausting themselves in endless struggle. But true mental performance does not come from mental overload. It comes from spiritual order. The mind is at its best when it is in harmony with a higher truth, not when it is trying to control or predict everything. Spiritual truth becomes the compass for the mind, guiding it with peace, power, and purpose. When the mind aligns with spiritual truth, it no longer gets lost in the illusion of separation or limitation. It understands that what is true in spirit must eventually manifest in form. This knowing calms the mind, giving it a clear direction and a calm focus. A mind filled with fear produces distortion. It looks at problems and multiplies them. It sees delays and interprets them as denials. But a mind aligned with spiritual truth sees beyond the temporary and perceives the eternal. It knows that nothing real can be threatened and nothing divine can be lost. It sees challenges as lessons, not punishments. It sees detours as divine redirection, not failure. This kind of mind does not chase validation or external results. It trusts the process because it trusts the source. It is anchored in the understanding that there is a divine plan and that everything unfolds in perfect timing when one is in alignment with that truth. It becomes less reactive and more responsive. It listens before it speaks, waits before it worries, and moves when the inner knowing says move. The high-performing mind does not need to prove itself. It simply expresses itself from a place of certainty and quiet authority. To align with spiritual truth, the mind must first be emptied of falsehoods. These are the deeply ingrained beliefs of not being enough, not having enough, or not being loved. They are mental programs inherited from fear, past experiences, or collective conditioning. These beliefs cloud the mind and block its true potential. A high-performing mind is not just an intelligent mind. It is a free mind, free from guilt, free from shame, free from the need to force what is already yours in spirit. Once these inner obstacles are removed, the mind becomes sharp, clear, and deeply focused, not in a frantic way, but in a peaceful and precise way. When the mind is aligned with spiritual truth, it does not just perform well under pressure, it performs best in peace. It does not lose clarity in chaos. It becomes the calm in the storm because it knows the storm cannot shake what is rooted in truth. It operates from vision, not reaction. It does not make decisions based on what is visible, but based on what is spiritually real. This kind of mind sees opportunity where others see lack, potential where others see problems, and divine order where others see confusion. A hyper-forming mind rooted in spiritual truth understands that inspiration is more powerful than information. It values silence, stillness, and inner listening because it knows that divine ideas are more valuable than man-made plans. It trusts intuition over insecurity, guidance over guesswork. It becomes a channel for divine intelligence to flow through with precision and ease. Such a mind produces results not from grinding, but from grace. You don't have to fight for clarity when you are aligned. You don't have to beg for answers when you trust your connection. Alignment with truth makes the mind efficient, creative, disciplined, and joyful. It releases wasted energy, sharpens focus, and brings the mind into harmony with the law of good. The performance of the mind is not measured by how fast it moves, but by how aligned it is with spiritual principles that govern all success. In this alignment, the mind becomes a vessel of miracles, a servant of truth, and a powerful agent of divine manifestation. You said, ask ChatGPT. Faith speaks with authority, not desperation. Desperation pleads, panics, and begs, while faith declares, commands, and trusts. There is a spiritual vibration in every word you speak, and the universe does not respond to the words alone, but to the power behind them. When words are spoken from fear, they carry no weight. They are hollow, uncertain, and weak. But when words are spoken from faith, they echo with the force of divine law. They do not ask for what is already given. They claim it as already done. True faith does not whimper or worry. It does not approach the divine as a beggar hoping for mercy. It comes as a child of the Most High, knowing that all things are already provided in the spiritual realm, and it is simply a matter of alignment and declaration. Desperation says, please, if only I hope. Faith says, I know, I claim, I receive. The posture of your heart determines the power of your voice. When your inner belief is firm, your outer words carry strength. When you speak with authority born of conviction, the very atmosphere responds. Spiritual law is not moved by panic. It is not activated by emotional begging. It responds to clarity, certainty, and alignment. The law is precise, just like gravity. It does not favor those who cry the loudest, but those who speak the clearest. Authority is rooted in knowing. When you know who you are and what belongs to you in spirit, you stop pleading and start commanding. You stop asking as if what you desire is far away, and you begin to declare it as already yours. Desperation comes from the belief that you are separate from your good. It views blessings as distant and uncertain. It sees the divine as reluctant and the future as unstable. But faith knows better. Faith sees the invisible as more real than the visible. Faith does not depend on evidence. It creates the evidence. It knows that even if the situation looks impossible, the spiritual law is already at work behind the scenes. Faith never waits for proof to believe. It believes to produce proof. When you speak from desperation, you are actually affirming your disbelief. You are reinforcing the idea that you are not supported, not worthy, or not ready. But when you speak from faith, you affirm divine order, abundance, healing, and peace. You declare your alignment with what is already available. The words may sound simple, but the energy behind them is what determines their creative power. A short sentence spoken in faith can shift mountains. A long prayer filled with fear creates nothing. Faith-filled speech is not about sounding spiritual. It is about speaking with inner certainty. It's not about quoting sacred texts. It's about knowing that divine truth lives within you. It's not about shouting louder. It's about being still and unwavering. Your authority does not come from effort. It comes from essence. It flows from the realization that you are one with the source, and what you claim in that oneness must manifest. People often ask why their affirmations are not working, why their prayers seem unanswered. The answer is in the energy behind the words. Are you speaking life while thinking fear? Are you declaring truth while secretly doubting it? The universe is not fooled by words that sound good but come from a place of doubt. Only words spoken in harmony with deep belief carry the creative force that changes reality. Faith is not loud, it is not dramatic, but it is unshakable. It speaks once and expects results. It does not check the clock or the calendar. It does not waver when nothing seems to change. It knows the word is already working. It knows the seed is already planted. It stands still and watches the salvation of the Lord. It walks forward as if the way is already made. It praises before the answer is visible. It rejoices before the walls fall down, because it knows that once a word is spoken in faith, all of heaven begins to move on its behalf. Mental discipline is the foundation of miracles. A scattered, uncontrolled, and noisy mind cannot hold the vibration necessary for transformation. Miracles are not random events. They are spiritual manifestations that arise when your mind becomes still, focused, and aligned with divine truth. Mental discipline is not about force but about order. It is the inner structure that holds your faith steady, your thoughts clean, and your intentions powerful. Without it, the mind becomes a playground for fear, doubt, and limitation, constantly reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. A miracle begins in thought before it appears in form. It is born in consciousness, not chance. If your mind is full of conflict, contradiction, and confusion, it cannot become a vessel for higher outcomes. Miracles require mental clarity, spiritual alignment, and emotional stability. That clarity comes from discipline, the ability to monitor your thoughts, reject falsehood, and replace every limiting belief with truth. It is not about suppressing emotion, but about not allowing emotion to rule your reality. Mental discipline trains the mind to follow the heart, to listen to divine guidance rather than external noise. The undisciplined mind will sabotage your prayers with doubt the moment you speak them. It will imagine the worst outcomes even while you declare the best. It will rehearse fear while you attempt to affirm faith. This inner war blocks the miraculous because the vibration of uncertainty weakens your creative power. A disciplined mind, on the other hand, remains rooted. It does not swing between extremes. It observes thought without becoming thought. It chooses faith every time fear tries to speak. It chooses gratitude every time lack tries to whisper. It chooses silence over noise, stillness over panic. Mental discipline is a spiritual practice. It begins the moment you realize that not every thought is worthy of your attention. You become the gatekeeper, no longer allowing every fear-based idea to enter your temple. You stop letting your past define your focus, and you stop letting appearances dictate your belief. You train your mind to respond from truth instead of emotion, to think from your vision instead of your history. The more disciplined your thought life becomes, the more powerful your spiritual life becomes. Miracles begin to flow because there is no resistance left in you. You are no longer blocking your good with worry, second guessing, or unconscious negativity. A disciplined mind speaks the language of expectancy. It walks by faith, not sight. It doesn't ask if, it says when. It doesn't hope, it knows. This inner confidence magnetizes the right people, the right ideas, and the right timing. Your energy becomes clean and focused. The universe responds not to scattered desire, but to unwavering certainty. You become a magnet for solution, not a mirror of the problem. You shift from victim to creator, from confusion to clarity, from hoping for change to embodying it. Discipline does not mean control. It means conscious choice. It means being so devoted to your spiritual truth that you refuse to indulge the mental habits that contradict it. It means waking up and choosing peace before problems. It means starting the day with intention, not reaction. It means feeding your mind with what aligns, not what distracts. You realize that every thought is either an investment in your miracle or a delay of it. You begin to treat your mind as sacred ground, keeping it clean, focused, and available for divine instruction. When the mind is trained, it becomes quiet enough to receive inspiration. It becomes soft enough to listen and strong enough to follow through. Miracles are not accidents. They are the natural outcome of a disciplined, aligned, and surrendered mind. You no longer try to make things happen. You allow them. You create the mental and spiritual conditions in which the miraculous is not only possible, it is inevitable. The universe responds to inner power, not panic. When you are in a state of panic, your energy is scattered, your thoughts are chaotic, and your vibration is one of fear and lack. Panic sends out a signal that you are disconnected from truth, uncertain of your source, and unaware of your authority. In this state, even your prayers are filled with doubt, your actions with anxiety, and your words with contradiction. Panic tries to control outcomes through urgency, but inner power commands outcomes through alignment. One comes from the illusion of separation, the other from the knowing of divine connection. Inner power is calm, clear, and confident. It does not react to circumstances, it governs them. It knows that no situation, no delay, no appearance of difficulty can override spiritual law. Inner power is not loud, it is unshakable. It does not need to prove itself, shout, or beg. It simply knows. This knowing radiates as a frequency, and that frequency is what the universe responds to. You are not answered by what you ask for in fear, but by what you believe in with faith. The universe mirrors your energy, not your words. Panic is rooted in the belief that you are alone. It says, something is wrong, and I have to fix it now or everything will fall apart. It drowns out intuition, clouds perception, and makes rash decisions that create more problems than solutions. It blocks flow, it disconnects you from the guidance that is always available to you. Panic shuts the door that inner power quietly opens. You may be taking action in panic, but action without alignment does not produce the results you want. In fact, it often pushes what you desire further away, because the energy you are acting from is one of lack and fear. Inner power, on the other hand, is rooted in divine trust. It holds the vision even when nothing has changed. It listens before it moves. It waits without anxiety. It speaks to the storm and commands peace. It carries the authority of someone who knows they are backed by something greater than themselves. Inner power does not chase, it attracts. It does not react, it creates. It does not worry, it remembers. This remembrance brings stability to the mind, peace to the emotions, and direction to every step forward. When you are in inner power, you send a signal to the universe that you are in agreement with divine law. You affirm that all things are working for your highest good. You expect results not out of arrogance but out of alignment. Your expectations are not demands, they are spiritual agreements. You don't try to force the outcome, you hold the outcome in consciousness and trust the process. The universe begins to arrange circumstances, open doors, and draw people and opportunities to you because your vibration is one of faith, not fear. There is no true power in panic. It is an illusion of control that leaves you exhausted and further away from your center. But there is real magnetic power in presence. When you are present in your truth, anchored in your worth, and connected to your divine source, you become a conduit for grace. You don't have to beg for what is already yours. You just have to stop resisting it with fear. The power lies not in what you do, but in the energy you hold while doing it. You were never meant to live in panic. That is not your natural state. Your natural state is peace, clarity, and confidence. From that state, miracles are normal, solutions are obvious, and blessings flow without struggle. You do not have to shout to be heard by the universe. You simply have to remember who you are. The moment you return to that remembrance, you return to power. And the moment you return to power, the universe begins to move, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Ask ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT.